Don't you want the story twice? Have no fear, the studio say remake so.
Okay, I'll record now. I'm recording.
Okay, cool. I'm also recording.
Oh my god, we're both recording.
We're both
What
recording
a weird
once again.
What a coincidence. I'm gonna turn up my gain just slightly. What a coincidence. Okay, now my gain is good. My gain is good. I'm gonna try not to move, even though that's against my nature as an autistic person. How am I supposed to stim and record a podcast at the same time?
You gotta put that mic right on top of your fucking face.
Right on, like right here?
Have a really rigid backed chair, which I can see you have. I mean, it does kind of...
Yeah, but it goes like, look how far back I go.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And then I sound so distant. So
it's a problem.
I'll just sit up like an adult. Welcome to Once More with Feeling, a podcast about great original movies and their often not so great remakes. Today we're doing something special. We're talking about a movie that is still in theaters.
Yeah.
Or as of the day that this comes out, which if nothing goes wrong will be July 15th. That movie is, of course, Moana.
Yeah,
guess
what?
We're back in season one.
Throwback.
Wow.
Is your memory more than 3 months old? I hope so.
No.
We're Americans. None of us. None of us have a memory longer than like 2 weeks.
We're back to Once More Upon a Time. Remember that title that we said the one time? Anyway, we watched Moana today. I watched it last night.
Yeah. I watched it 2 days ago, and the original 2 days before that. Yeah. I have many thoughts, so
I watched them both last night, so I have better thoughts. Let's just jump in. I'll just tell you a little bit about Moana, a little bit about 2016, the year it came out.
2016, that's a year we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, we have not talked about 2016, and because it's a decade ago, which
yikes,
I think it is worthy to talk about. So, a couple things that happened in 2016. It's the last good year of American history. Barack Obama's still in charge. I once read an article. This was a couple years ago before like Manosphere panic was as big as it is now. But like when the media was starting to recognize that like Andrew Tate exists and that a lot of boys are listening to him. There was an article in New York Magazine about Andrew Tate. I think it was New York Magazine. And the writer was interviewing like her friends who are like liberals who live in Brooklyn. And one of the moms says something like, and I'll never forget it because it's so funny. You know, I've heard a little bit of this Andrew Tate guy, and I really don't like him. I don't want my kid to listen to him at all. I think even if Andrew Tate had on as a guest Barack Obama, who is my favorite person who's ever existed,
oh dear,
I don't think I would let my son listen to that interview. And I thought it was very funny. And the most like classic, beautiful example of like a New York liberal. That one sentence.
I would have voted for Obama a third time.
I would have. Oh wait, never mind. I'm also joking. I would not have because it's there's an amendment that says you can't do that.
That's correct, Gus.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of Obama, Iran's nuclear weapons program is declared sufficiently dismantled by the UN, and then everything was solved forever. Catholic and Russian Orthodox leadership meet officially for the first time in about 1,000 years in 2016. Since the schism happened in 1054, they had not like officially met until 2016, which is incredible. There are suicide bombings in Belgium airports, I think. Harambe is killed and then becomes a meme.
Harambe.
Yeah, you remember that? Remember Harambe?
Uh-huh.
What a time.
The most handsome gorilla.
Yeah, the whole U.S. election happens. We reveal ourselves to be even more obviously a nation of greedy rubes.
And that's been our identity ever since.
Ever since. The Cubs win the World Series for the first time in 108 years. I was in Chicago when this happened. Let me tell you about this. I was stuck in the library doing a history paper. I did not participate. I didn't find out about it for 2 days. And then the U.S. starts the Afghanistan withdrawal. So kind of the end of the war, which was cool. Not a big year. in terms of amount of stuff that happened.
It was both not a big year and a huge year. It's one of those years where history was happening and just nobody really noticed.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of items put into motion that wouldn't whose importance wouldn't be evident until
a lot of seeds sown that would foreshadow future events.
Yeah.
One person coughed in China in 2016. Okay, here's Moana. Here's the story. Here's a quick little synopsis. So we open on a really lovely little 2D mythical prologue. We learn about the goddess Te Fiti, who's like a big living island who brings other islands into the world. And she does that because her heart like powers creation. But then, 1,000 years ago, Maui, who's a sneaky trickster god, steals the heart. But then like this big scary fire lava god, Te Ka, knocks him out of the sky and they're both lost forever. That was 1,000 years ago. Now there's monsters and sneaky guys trying to get the heart. And who's telling the story but Moana's grandmother? And we meet Moana in, I think, a great visual representation of her character, where it's like her and a bowling pin arranged group of children. And she's in front and just like so excited about the story, and all the other kids are about to have a heart attack. And she wants to go into the ocean, and she loves the ocean, and the ocean is her best friend, and the ocean tries to give her the heart of Te Fiti as a little child, but she loses it. And then she grows up and she accepts that she's the chieftain, so she has to stay on her island and take care of her people. And just as she accepts this, oh no, a blight strikes the island. The coconuts are blighted, the fish have disappeared. And she's like, we have to go. We have to go beyond the reef or we'll die. And her dad's like, we cannot go beyond the reef. I can't do a New Zealand accent. And her grandma is like, you can go beyond the reef. Go into this cave and look at what we used to be. And she finds these 1,000-year-old boats that have been perfectly preserved and has a vision in the sail of the fact that her ancestors used to be like ocean voyagers. And there's a pretty cool song. And then her grandma is like, I saw you on the beach that day when the ocean gave you the heart, and she like pulls it out of her necklace. And Moana's like, I thought that was a dream. And it wasn't. And so then grandma gives her the mission to find Maui and force him to return the heart, and then she dies. And Moana goes on the mission with her chicken Hey Hey, and she almost dies in a storm and washes up on a random island where, lucky for her, Maui is. And then Maui tries to steal her boat, and there's a song, and it doesn't work. And so the two of them are on this boat, and Maui can't get rid of her because the ocean just puts it right back on. And so they go on their little mission to recover Maui's hook and then return Te Fiti's heart. And on the way, they sing and they fight living coconut pirates called Kakamora.
Pretty fun.
A giant greedy New Zealand crab called Tamatoa.
Who is
and then the
Jermaine
fire
Clement.
god. It is Jermaine Clement in an excellent role. And then they fight the fire god Te Ka. And then at the end, in the climax, Moana realizes that Te Ka is actually Te Fiti and gives her the heart back. And then Maui is redeemed and his broken hook gets replaced. His hook breaks in the fight. Classic. Heroic sacrifice. Hooray. And then Moana returns to her people and they launch a new golden age of exploration and peace. And that's basically the movie.
Hooray.
The grandma returns as like a ghostly manta ray at one point. A very sweet scene.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Moana is directed by John Musker and Ron Clements, who are very long-time Disney directors, animators, producers, writers. They both joined in the 80s. I think one of them might have joined in the late 70s.
That's a long time.
Very long time. They first partnered all the way back in 1987 on The Black Cauldron, when they are like credited as additional story contributions. And then they directed and wrote The Great Mouse Detective, and then The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, Treasure Planet, and The Princess and the Frog. So very good oeuvre. And then they served in like creative leadership roles on Big Hero 6 and Zootopia, and a bunch of basically all the Disney animation at that time. So big fishes in the Disney pond, these two. The story goes that in 2009, after they finish The Princess and the Frog, they start developing Mort, which is a really great book from Terry Pratchett. You should definitely read it if you haven't yet. But they couldn't get the rights to the movie. And I know from my very brief time on Twitter I think Terry Pratchett was still alive at the time, but sadly, I believe he he had early onset Alzheimer's.
He did. Really tragic.
Which sucks.
Super sucks.
But his daughter, Rhiannon Pratchett, I think, she is now very protective of the rights of Terry's books because
I think
the
a couple
adaptations.
A couple radio plays have been done, but
a couple radio plays have been done, and then there's like BBC like TV movies. Like there's a Hogfather movie. I think there is a Mort movie for BBC, like lower budget stuff that's fun. But then like BBC America had that show Guards, which is based on or Night Watch, which is based on Terry Pratchett's Guards, and the book is amazing, and the show is like just different. It's not the same thing. I haven't seen it. So I think, so she's just very protective of the rights, which is understandable. Anyway, couldn't get the rights, so they went back to some original ideas. They got really interested in Polynesian mythology, and they pitched this idea to John Lasseter that would eventually become Moana. It was originally just focused on Maui, but then they went on.
That makes a lot of sense to me for reasons we'll discuss.
Okay. Then they went on some research trips to Polynesian islands, which, alongside a trust of South Pacific experts that they called the Oceanic Story Trust, heavily informed the story and depiction of Polynesian culture. And ultimately, they ended up refocusing the story on the character of Moana. But even after they focused in on Moana, the story kept changing pretty drastically. The original draft was written by Taika Waititi, who,
ooh, interesting.
Fun fact, yeah, very interesting, who soon left the project to take care of his newborn kid and work on What We Do in the Shadows, the original New Zealand version. A bunch of other people came on as writers. There were so many different story focuses, different calls to action. At one point, the movie was very like girl power. Like she was the one girl and 6 brothers. You know, at one point it was her dad got lost at sea, and that's what sent her out to go on the big voyage.
I still think this is extremely girl power, but sure. Okay.
Well, listen, it used to be even more girl power. It used to be explicitly girl power instead of very strongly implied girl power. The Kakamora and the Tamatoa moments were all like later additions, a lot of changes, which is like pretty normal for a studio film, and especially a Disney studio film, period. This film, fun fact, Moana, was actually, the computer generatedness was actually a choice and not like a studio mandate. They actually did animation tests like early on of, I guess, doing certain scenes in 3D and in 2D, and they liked 3D better. They thought that the environment looked better in 3D, and the ocean and stuff was just like worked better in 3D, which I think is interesting. Supposedly, both Moana and Zootopia were produced in a temporary warehouse, similar to how it was going at the beginning of the Disney Renaissance, because the normal animation offices were being renovated. It sounds like you are not a fan of this movie.
I don't like this movie at all.
I think it's fine. But that to me tells me that Disney...
It's maybe a little extreme. I think this movie is nice.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. I have, which to me tells me that Disney needs to permanently move its animation team into a giant warehouse. Because even if Moana is nice, it is much better than Frozen 2.
It's much better than Frozen 2. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Frozen either.
I like Zootopia a lot. How do you feel about Tangled?
I do like Zootopia. I like Tangled. But I do think that there's like from the end of the Disney Renaissance, like, and this is maybe redundant to say because it's already implied by the Disney Renaissance being over, but I think there is a steady decline of Disney movies in general, but specifically Disney musicals.
Sure.
I think Frozen is worse than Lilo and Stitch. I understand Lilo and Stitch is a musical or whatever. I think Frozen is worse than Lilo and Stitch. Tangled came before that. Yeah. So I think Tangled is worse than Lilo and Stitch. I think Frozen is worse than Tangled. I think Moana is worse than Frozen. I think, Wish is just like the bottom of the barrel for pretty much anything Disney's ever produced.
Yeah. What do you think about Hexed?
Is that the new one coming out?
It's the new one.
I think it looks cute. I don't know. I'm trying to be an optimist about film and allow my disappointment to just carry me through all my critical momentum, I guess. Yeah. I was trying to be optimistic about the remake for this also, and that similarly broke my heart. So we'll see about Hexed, but I don't like Moana. I don't think it's very good. I think it's very beautiful. That I agree that the 3D animation works for this. You know,
Yeah.
I think all the island stuff, all the water, gorgeous. I think it's so beautiful. I read some reviews of the original Moana to sort of, I don't know, contextualize myself for reading the reviews for the new one, which are very bad, which we'll talk about. But like, this movie has like a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Yeah, it's very high.
It's very high. And
Critics liked it very much.
Critics liked it a lot, and I can't figure out why. I think it's a mess. I don't think that to me, it seems like I mean, it's pretty clear that they're trying to split the difference between like a classic hero's journey and a princess story. And I don't think they're committing to either one. And I think that for several reasons, mostly because they don't want to, for like just sort of like basic identitarian reasons that aren't about wokeness. It's not that they're like, concerned about pissing off feminists. It's that they don't want to make their heroines complicated or like dark in any way because they're afraid they will seem unlikable and unrelatable.
There's no complexity allowed.
Not
anymore.
at all, and that's so frustrating to me. Like it kind of pisses me off that Moana doesn't have a character arc. She's just a lateral move. Like she begins the movie as this like spirited.
She's like a Brad Pitt character.
Yeah, kinda. She's like this spirited young girl who wants to have adventures on the ocean. Yeah. That's who she is in the beginning, and at the end, she realizes that, in fact, she is a spirited young girl who wants to have adventures on the ocean.
Right. The whole world changes around the character.
Yeah, and
instead of like in Mulan, where she's like insecure about herself but dedicated to her family. She's still dedicated to her family, but now she's like secure in who she is.
I'm so glad you brought up Mulan because like when we were talking about Mulan, we mentioned, I think it was a producer on that movie that had talked about her motivations for going to war, and they had done all these other like mock-ups of and like versions of the script where she's engaged and she's running away from that, or she's like she's always, like they did in the new one, like always been a fighter and into martial arts and stuff and whatever. And they scrapped that specifically because that is the wrong motivation. She cannot be going to war for the wrong reasons. And those are the wrong reasons. She can't be running away from something. She has to be protecting her father. And it's pretty clear to me that this movie really, like Moana as a character, really wants to have left the island for the wrong reasons and learn what the right reasons are over the course of the movie. And that's not what happens at all. Instead, she's just like... She leaves
for the right reasons.
Yeah!
And then the right reasons keep... And her only character arc is that she learns how to sail.
Yeah!
Which she already wanted to do.
Which she already wanted to do, and which is not like a prominent aspect of the... Like, her learning to sail is not consequential to the plot at all. Like, she has this...
it is. The fact that she sailed gets her past to Ka in the last final scene.
I know, but it's not like
after failing to do it.
But it's
the exact same way before.
I know, but it doesn't like facilitate any character growth in her at all. She just learns to do it. Right. She has this like momentary. It's maybe my least favorite sequence out of the entire movie is it's like the fourth reprise of How Far I'll Go, and when Ghost Grandma shows up.
Yeah.
And it's just mystifying to me what her character is supposed to have realized in that moment. Sure. It's just like a momentary lapse in morale. And then the last line is her.
It's like she was too confident in herself, got hit by the fire god, and then was like, "No, you need to be confident in yourself."
Yeah. And then
I see that.
And then yells, "I am Moana," and it's like, I know,
Yeah.
That's the title of the movie. I know who you are. What does that mean? What does that mean? It's really, really frustrating. I don't like this movie. I don't like it is not a hero's journey. They're not hitting those beats at all, and it makes total sense that this was, written to be Maui's movie at first, because it clearly is like splitting its energy between trying to figure out Moana's character arc and also fitting in this whole Maui thing.
Maui's the one that has the arc.
Yes.
He's, he goes from selfish to, remembering.
Right.
He relearns the meaning of hero.
Yeah, but they should mirror each other in a movie like this, and they don't.
Yeah, she should go from hero to selfish, like Captain America. Anyway, critics.
Yeah, go ahead.
Critics disagreed with you. They generally loved it. Victoria Luxford at the BBC called it great fun. Christopher Orr at The Atlantic said, an absolute delight, a lush, exuberant quest fable full of big musical numbers and featuring perhaps the most stunning visuals of any Disney film to date. Peter Travers at Rolling Stone called it an animated joyride. And it did super good. Made just under $700 million on a budget of about $120 million.
And then it was just 12th. Like the most streamed movie forevermore.
Yeah, especially when COVID happened and Disney Plus launched. Like, it's crazy. Moana was the 12th highest grossing movie of the year. Behind the top 5, as always, Captain America Civil War at number 1. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story at number 2. Finding Dory at number 3. Zootopia at number 4. And The Jungle Book at number 5. Interesting year for movies.
Yeah, everybody loved The Jungle Book too.
Yeah.
As we'll recall.
Yeah. I was watching this movie, it felt very much like a fairy tale. Because like the supporting characters are very simple.
Very.
The dad is like, don't leave the island. We stay on the island. You have to stay on the island. And the grandma's like, leave the island. You have to leave the island.
The monsters too are very, and so this is a problem for me also, because if this is, Disney is kind of trying to still to this day, trying to sort of distance itself from its kind of princessness. Yeah. But, there's nothing wrong with princesses, as we discussed in season 1. And if everybody else is like, the thing about princesses is that they are archetypical, and everybody in this movie is archetypical except Moana. And I don't think that's good. Like, it's not a subversion of anything. It just neutralizes everything else the movie is doing.
They just put a lantern. They just hung a lantern on it.
Yeah. Like, princesses aren't normal people. That's kind of the point of the archetype. And if you don't want to do a princess movie, don't do a princess movie. But then you can't like construct everything else like a fairy tale. Moana has to be an actual hero who goes on a hero's journey. She's not. And very frustrating. I'm trying to figure out how to say what I feel about Lin-Manuel Miranda's work here in a way that doesn't seem mean, because I think he's talented. But I really...
You can start with, I really like Lin-Manuel Miranda's work. But I think that like his style of songwriting, to me, and I speak as someone who's a gigantic Hamilton fan, unironically, his style works really, really well in a show like Hamilton or In the Heights, where it is all singing, where there is no dialogue to work around, because it's very declarative songwriting. And it's very fun, and it's lyrical, and it's wordplay, like white people appropriate hip hop should be. But if you look at, hold on, I'm finding the lyrics for what's that first song called?
Oh, I have them pulled up. It's called Where You Are, which is my favorite song in the movie. Thanks for asking.
It's a great song.
It's not a great song. But
okay, fuck you then, I guess.
The melody is very good. And this is one thing that irritates me about this movie. It's like just intuitively true to me that the sort of emotional crest song of this movie, which in the actual movie is yet another reprise of How Far I'll Go. It should be a reprise of Where You Are, and it isn't.
Sure.
That's so irritating. But like, it's very Lin-Manuel Miranda to he does a couple things that I really think are not good for musicals of the Disney nature. One is that, and these are both matters of efficiency of songwriting, I think. He's very repetitive. He just like, see, I'm trying to find an example. And okay, this is actually like crosses over with the other issue I have with his writing here, which is there's 2 whole stanzas in this song that are about coconuts and their uses.
Consider the coconut. The what? Consider its tree. We use each part of the coconut. That's all we need. We make our nets from the fibers. The water is sweet inside. We use the leaves to build fires. We cook up the meat inside. Consider the coconuts, the trunks and the leaves.
And I'm done considering coconuts.
Gives us what we need, and no one leaves.
How Far I'll Go. There's a stanza in How Far I'll Go that says, I know everybody on this island seems so happy on this island. Everything is by design. I know everybody on this island has a role on this island, so maybe I can roll with mine.
Yeah.
My boy is rhyming island with island 4 times in the same stanza.
Yeah, but the interesting bit of that stanza is not the fact that he's rhyming the words together. It's the double meaning of like the word roll. It's different. But I understand what you mean.
That
it's like
can
this
exist without this. I mean, he likes to rhyme words with the same word frequently. Right. But then also, like, the bigger issue here, and this is what the whole coconuts thing is about, is that none of this is propelling the plot. None of this is telling us anything about either Moana as a person or why this island is important. And to me, like, I mean, it's like they're trying to instruct us about Polynesian, like sort of pan-Polynesian culture. And I recognize that like coconut usage is very important to Polynesian culture and interesting to think about, but that's not why I'm watching this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just so easy to imagine a version of this song that clearly positions the island as a good and supportive place.
Yeah.
That Moana should want to live in, but feels guilty that she doesn't, and that's what the song is about. But instead, they're presenting this island in a way that is both educational and yet simultaneously boring, and that's how Moana is perceiving all of this, and I don't think that's good.
No, it's one of those things, like I mentioned, like he's a very declarative songwriter, right? But his songs are generally very fun to listen to. So if you look at, for example, do you have a favorite Hamilton song?
Dear Theodosia, I think, is a really great song.
Okay, I'm gonna do a different one. If you look at the song like My Shot from Hamilton, it's like, it goes, I'm gonna get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but dag, I amaze and astonish. The problem is I got a lot of brains, but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard. With every word I drop knowledge. I'm a diamond in the rough, a shiny piece of coal, trying to reach my goal. My power of speech, unimpeachable. I'm only 19, but my mind is older. These New York City streets get colder. I shoulder every burden, every disadvantage. I have to learn to manage. I don't have a gun to brandish. I walk these streets famished. The plan is to fan this spark into a flame, but damn, it's getting dark, so let me spell out my name. I am the Alexander. We are meant to be a colony that runs independently. Meanwhile, Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. Then King George turns around and runs a spending spree. He ain't ever gonna set his descendants free. So there will be a revolution in this century. Enter me, he says in parentheses. Like, it just says what is happening.
Yes.
Which again works, I think, very well in a show like Hamilton, which is just song.
Well, and also Hamilton is about all these people who are themselves, just very verbose and with very big vocabularies that are pretty archaic. And there's a lot of room for, play in that. And I mean, the way that declarative nature works in this movie, I think just sucks, because it's just like, like I read a couple reviews about the new one that are talking about the old one and about how it's like wow, Moana really is about identity, you know, and they're always talking about who we are and where we are and why we are. And I recognize that is what the songs are saying, but that's not what the movie is saying. These are two different things. You know what I mean? It's like if somebody walks up to you and is like, hey, man, identity's important, huh? I guess. Like, what does that mean? Like, the story attached to that is what should be important, I feel. So when Moana breaks into song and says, I am a girl who loves her island and a girl who loves I know that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I don't need to be told again.
Exactly, because the stuff that he generally covers in his songs have been covered in other ways.
Right.
Like he is a particular kind of musical writer, you know, that like that kind of stuff is covered in traditional stage musicals when you maybe can't really do like, you can't show the same way that
right.
Moana is like excited about adventure because you have her smiling as the grandma is whatever. You have to share it through like dialogue and song. So his transition to whereas like the original Disney Renaissance people of Ashman and Menken, I think do really understand filmic storytelling and how songs slot into that extremely, extremely well.
Right. I mean, the result is that this is not a musical. The only song to me that actually seems to, I don't know, where the energy kind of picks up in a kind of Disney musical fashion is Shiny.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't know enough about musicals to articulate why that's the case. I don't know if it if it's because the song is carried across the scene or what, because it is just like an I Am song.
Yeah.
But it does feel...
It's a backstory song. So we still like, I think your complaint, which is valid, is that none of the songs really are necessary. Like if you cut the songs out of the story, it would more or less make sense.
I think it would almost entirely make sense. Yeah.
Except for Shiny,
okay,
because the song of Shiny is like, that is the result of the distraction that Moana does.
Yes.
That's how they get the hook back. And it's like over the course of that song, whereas like in the Where You Are song is like, it's not really necessary. It's nice background, but it's not really necessary.
Yeah. I mean, it's what frustrates me about is, especially a song like Where You Are, I think is just so ill-used because it could be like such a great tone setter for everybody's character in this movie. And like really properly set up a conflict between Moana and her father, which I think is really missing here. You know, like part of my issue with this movie is that it feels very low stakes, which is weird because it's literally existential.
Right.
There is no real conflict in this movie. There's just a problem. And that's not the same thing. The heart of Te Fiti is a problem for her to solve, but she's not conflicted about how to pursue it. Nobody is. And I think if you contrast that with something like Mulan, which is, I think, the best corollary for the way Moana's story like kind of wants to be mapped, I think that movie does a really good job of setting up Mulan's story as full of, personal conflict and family turmoil. I do not see that here. It's just so missing. And I don't know, it's like, it feels very leashed, this movie, like every time they had the opportunity to make things, to make particular characters' motivations kind of complex or dark, they just chose the absolute safest route. We can't have Moana too excited to go to the sea because we have to present this Polynesian island as like, a nice, good place. But also voyaging is cool. And we have to present that as also just sort of good in an uncomplicated way. And so it's like, well then why is it good or bad that they were Voyagers then and aren't now? Like, what are we supposed to think about any of this? Where are they going in the end? Why are they leaving the island? Like that matters. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm here except to see, pretty 3D South Pacific animation. I don't like this movie.
I liked it a lot more in my memory than I did when I watched it again. And I think one of the things that bothered me that you didn't mention, because a lot of the things you mentioned bothered me, but less than they bothered you, is it's a little... I don't think they intended it this way, but it reads as a little bit of like it's embarrassed that it's a musical.
Yeah.
And I think this was the middle of, studios thinking that Americans hated musicals now. So it's like there's a lot of like, they're very aware of the songs. There's a line that Maui has, like, I think around when he's like, you have a skirt and an animal sidekick, your princess. Where
that's
he's like,
a whole other thing.
If you start singing, I'm going to vomit.
I really don't like the humor in this movie. It does my least favorite. Is a very like 2010s,
it's very ironic.
Oh, I'm so over
in a
irony.
Bad way.
Yes. The whole, like, something happening and then having a character look upon, makes me cringe to think about, to look upon it and go, that happened. Stop it. Stop it. I was there. I saw it.
Yeah. And then Jermaine Clement's character, who does Jermaine does a great job, and his
awesome.
His reading of the lines are much more sincere, but it still bothered me. He's like, "Are you asking me to talk about myself? I will gladly do so in song form," and that one works better, but it's still a little.
It's just too much. It wants you to. It's like trying to nudge you in the side. Yeah.
It's like, I know you don't like musicals, but if we are aware that we're a musical, isn't that okay? That we're also embarrassed that we're doing this.
God.
And that's, I like my musicals to be sincere and love that they're musicals. Like
musicals
Aladdin.
musicals kind of have to be sincere,
In Chicago. If you're going to be an ironic musical, it has to be ironic about things other than the songs. Like Book of Mormon is a great musical.
Yeah.
And part of that is like, they're like, we're gonna just do a Lion King. Yeah. We're doing a Lion King right now. Spam-A-Lot too. Like Spam-A-Lot, I think does it really well. And there's a show called Something Rotten. None of these are movies. Spam-A-Lot and Something Rotten are both very self-aware musicals, but they're very proud that they're musicals.
Oh, I mean, like,
and so they both have songs in them that are about, wow, aren't musicals stupid? But they're so excited about how stupid musicals are.
Yeah.
So it's like the audience is like, yeah, this is stupid, but also I love it. And then when in Moana, when they frame the songs with like, isn't this dumb? Even though the song is like very enthusiastic about being a song, it's like, well, the show told me it was dumb separately from like the song itself.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's,
even something like Sweeney Todd, which is one of my favorite musicals, big surprise.
Yeah.
Like that show is full of irony. But it's not embarrassed to be a musical. Those songs are serious, Yeah. And they do propel the plot. And there are like, this is one of my big problems with this movie is that like Sweeney Todd, any well-written musical has all these leitmotifs that are carried through the movie that, shepherd your emotions to where they need to be in order to receive the story in the way that it's meant to be received. And like, I can't recall a single bit of score in this movie at all, Like typically in a musical, the songs are in the score. It
was scored and written by different people.
That's bad.
And the score, that was the other thing that I was paying attention to, and I was talking to my wonderful girlfriend about, who did not want to watch either of these films. One of the things that bothered me with the songs is like listening to The Little Mermaid, the setting of The Little Mermaid informed the kind of music with like, it's a very Caribbean inspired song and music with like drums, and obviously with Sebastian, and then with like the Beauty and the Beast, it's like very inspired by French countryside, and Aladdin, like very inspired by the Arabicness of it. And I could keep going on, and I will, because I love all of them.
Talked a little bit about
Mulan
this last...
is very inspired by the Chinesiness
the entire
of it.
Score of The Hunchback of Notre Dame is just Gregorian chants. you know?
Yeah, and it's like, again, I I like Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I like the music in Moana, but I think it doesn't incorporate as well into the overall piece as they used to do. And part of that is like there's nothing about the song like if you listen to if you listen to like Prince Ali, like that song does not work in any other set.
Right.
Like if they play Prince Ali and you're like, you know, even if you're like the same story, magical creature grants a wish, turns you into a prince, you present yourself at court. If you're in like, you know, an English castle, that song's not gonna work.
Right.
But if you have like How Far I'll Go, if you're like, you know, a
designed to be on
coastal
the radio.
fishing village in Scandinavia, like they could just do that song again
Right.
and it would be fine.
Yeah. I don't
Is the
like, and
overall
it
note.
seems to me that like, you know, they hired a lot of, you know, Polynesian songwriters and artists to work on this. And by hiring all of these Polynesian artists, they are trying to say they did the work to do that, you know, even though these artists don't seem to be heavily influencing what's happening. It's just that they're translating the part and we know the way into what language this is. I don't know. They're present. They're the ones singing it. That's good, but that's not the same as like the music itself being actually influenced by this music in a big way. I don't think it is, you know. There's a little bit, but not
even
enough.
Like, even like Lilo and Stitch, like the songs that were made for that movie are very islandy, Polynesian,
Hawaiian.
and good.
Specifically Hawaiian.
Very Hawaiian. And speaking of Hawaiian, what a great segue. One of the really cool things that this movie did is that they recorded a Maori, Tahitian, and Hawaiian language version of the film and then showed them to like schools and I think community centers in those countries. Well, Maori isn't a country, but in New Zealand. But they're not like commercially available, and that's a bummer. But because I want to watch it in Hawaiian. That'd be so cool.
I mean, it would be really cool to see a version of this movie where Hawaiian music or Tahitian or Micronesian or, you know, Trobriand, what
Indonesian.
Yeah, I mean, where those musical influences are sincerely and unapologetically carried into there. Like, there's some of it, but it's always as just like a sort of entree into the normal musical song, which is embarrassed to be itself. So, why am I here?
And it's not that the songs are embarrassed about being songs.
No.
The movie's embarrassed about having songs in it, which is a bummer.
It is.
Even Princess and the Frog, which was these two's like previous movies, the songs are very inspired by the Louisiana setting, and they're great. Anyway, I feel like that's enough.
Yeah, it's a mid movie.
It's fine.
It's nice.
One thing that's worth mentioning, Auli Cravalho. I'm so bad at names.
Cravalho, I think.
Auli Cravalho. I'm so sorry to our Hawaiian listeners. This was her first role. She just like auditioned, self-taped. She was 14. I think the story goes it was literally the last self-tape that they looked at, and she got the role. I think she's very good. Yeah, she's really great.
She is just
I'm
fine.
glad that her career has been quite successful because she's really good.
We didn't talk about The Rock. He's not a very good singer, but I do like I like his voice acting. I think he's fine.
He's fine.
Everything about this movie is just fine.
He's fine. It's like,
I feel nothing.
It's very Disney of the era, where it's just
fine.
You know, it's okay. Could be better.
Do you want to talk about the new one?
Do we have to? It's the same movie. It's literally the same.
Oh God.
This episode is brought to you by all of you wonderful people, especially the patrons. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being willing to like pay a little extra money to us and help us support this and do a good job. You make me very happy. New people since last time, Poetry and Costume, El Sabacho, Bionicle Ben, Shea Stone, Scipio the Jumping Spider, Ruth Shelton. I think I might be going into stuff I already mentioned. Thank you so much. We, both of us, really appreciate it. It's very kind of you. And it's meaningful and nice. And if you want to support us, like those great people, head on over to Patreon. It's in the show notes. You can join our little Discord. We have a lot of fun discussions about media and politics and We share food that we make sometimes, photos of it. And if you don't want to pay, that's totally fine. Hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you're using. Do a comment. Hit the like button. Just get our engagement numbers up. Retweet on Blue Sky. One thing you could do, don't do arson. If you did do arson, create a QR code that links to like our Patreon, and then do arson in that QR code so that when like police see it at a satellite view and they're like, that looks like a QR code, and they scan it and they see our podcast and then they sign up. That's the other way that you could help out. I guess we'll talk about the new one now.
I'm not going to do a synopsis because it's literally the same movie in a way that is like almost movie. Shot for shot. It's real rough. It's so it sucks.
I could not. There was like a couple lines of dialogue were different, but otherwise, like literally, the stunts are a little more boring because you can't. You can't make a human do the things that you can make an animated person do. So
this was greenlit in 2019. It looks like, which you'll notice is 3 years after the original one comes out. Disney's really running into a wall with this stuff. I think we're getting Tangled. I think we're getting Frozen also.
Oof.
We'll see if is this just going to be what they do? They just make a movie and animate it, and then 2 years later they just make it again in live. Oh my god, I'm this is like throwing me into an existential spiral thinking about this this laundering mechanism. I cannot think of a more solid example of this being a laundering mechanism, that two people are credited and got paid to write the screenplay for this remake of Moana.
Jared Bush, my guess, like if you look at some of the other remakes we've covered, if the script does not change significantly, the original writer is still credited. Yes. I think on like Flubber, the person who wrote Absent-Minded Professor still credited. So I would be surprised if Jared Bush actually like contributed to the script. I think they didn't, because they didn't change anything and he was credited on the original script. That's why he was still credited on this script, is my guess.
It was directed by...
So only one person deserves your moderate ire.
And that person is Dana Ledoux Miller, who, as we discussed a little bit before we hopped on, was a television writer for several years, apparently worked on... she did the screenplay and story for Moana 2, which everybody either hated or was lukewarm about back when it was being developed as a TV series. She did a lot of TV stuff and did something on this, but I can't imagine what, because it's literally the same. It is the same. What did she do?
There's the one edition, I think it was an edition, where they're like, we have a tradition on the top of this mountain where we stack rocks to make the island a little higher for everybody.
That's in the first one.
And then at the end of it is? Oh, yeah. Never mind. Was not paying enough attention.
Yeah. It was directed by Thomas Kail, who is mostly a Broadway director. He's mostly a stage director, theater director, and appears to have gotten the job through Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, I apologize. I was incorrect. Dana Ledoux Miller came on to Moana 2 after finishing writing the live-action remake script.
Okay.
So I was wrong about... I thought that she got onto the live-action by being a writer on Moana 2 when it was still a TV show, but in fact she got onto Moana 2
okay,
after working on the live action somehow.
What work did she do for this? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
She must have a really good agent.
I guess. Thomas Kail directed the off-Broadway and Broadway productions of In the Heights and Hamilton. He's done some TV and this terrible adaptation of live action Moana, which is not good. Does not improve upon anything that the original disappoints me with, and makes it markedly worse, in fact, because it somehow looks bad. How do you manage to make the South Pacific Islands look drab
I don't think they shot it on location.
They shot some of it in Hawaii, at least.
Maybe, but like the thing on the top of the mountain, there were a couple sets that they kept returning to, and they kept shooting from the same angles. And I think that was that fucking like LED blue screen thing that they do, that Disney has, that they bragged about so much with The Mandalorian. Of like, we can make it so the light comes from here instead of, you know, shooting it in a desert and making it actually look good. So I think they shot like the beach scenes on Hawaii, some of them maybe, but then like they went and they like a lot of the forest, a lot of the jungle I think is digital, and a lot of the background stuff is digital. And that what they probably just erected screens like on a beach.
It does not feel like they are in the places that they appear to be.
And it looks. And it's rough. And I think like we've talked about this before, where even like the fidelity in this movie is very good. I'm guessing that it's digital stuff instead of like being able to see for sure that it's digital stuff. But a big part of that is like when you shoot on location, or when you can build like an actual set, as we've talked about before, like the actors are going to behave differently, even if it's just a little bit differently. Like if you're on top of a mountain, you are going to act different fundamentally than if you are pretending to be on top of a mountain surrounded by a giant LED screen that like shows a fake sunset or whatever. And it's like there's a lot of that, like there, like the wind is off. There should have been more wind on the beach, and there wasn't any wind, and it's just like it's putting my hairs on my neck, you know, and it's just like
it's edited real weird. There's some just like kind of baffling cuts. I wish I could like you know, pull up an example to show everybody, you know, but it'll cut in the middle of a line in a really weird way, or like, I mean, the original has some kind of baffling cuts as well. So I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with any of the creative positions at Disney right now. But like another thing about how it's shot is that like it looks so much like raw footage. It looks so much like they just didn't color correct any of it. And that's true. I don't understand it. I'm kind of tolerant of the thing people are complaining about with very desaturated cinematography right now. I don't think Wicked looks bad. This looks bad. It looks like there's this like gray filter on everything, which is what raw footage looks like, you know?
Yeah. I saw it in IMAX.
So did I.
Did not. Oh, maybe your theater sucks.
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it looked fine. Like, this movie, as far as Disney remakes go, was definitely not like the worst one.
No.
But that's just because it was the same movie again. Like, there's literally no difference between this movie and the animated movie. This felt like, creatively, a student film. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why?
It feels like a creative project, you know? And but like an exercise, which is to an extent what all of these live action remakes are. But like, it's so just like nasty and disingenuous to present these movies as if that's like an acceptable reason to spend $250 million, you know?
It's double how much the original movie cost.
That is nuts.
And it's tracking very poorly, which I think is good.
That's great. Since Lilo and Stitch made so much money.
Yeah. And it's like I'm looking right now at some review wrap-ups. Like, people seem to generally agree with us of like, what the fuck are they doing? You know, to translate, you know, publicly published critical work into normal English. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Yeah. Why did they do this? This doesn't make any sense.
I think to some extent, a lot of these critics, given the position that film criticism has historically had in the film industry, like, criticism is still important now. It's just important in its absence. It's important because nobody respects criticism as a craft, you know? Film literacy for several sort of like almost like manic exuberant years where we're like it's like film literacy is gone. We don't need to worry about thinking about art anymore, because it's all just like we're just going to be awash with this like visual narrative pleasure, and we don't have to think about it. And I think that Like, a lot of these critics have only themselves to blame for their bafflement now, when they are the ones who were defending The Jungle Book and The Lion King. Let's see. I have a couple quotes to pull.
I will say that while you're looking for that, I will say that I found the actress who played Moana to be decent.
She's fine.
Pretty, the best part of the movie.
I don't... I do not think this is a well-directed movie. I don't love her performance, and I don't love The Rock either, but I don't think it's either of their fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. She's from Australia.
Yes.
Yeah. But her dad, I think, is Maori.
Yes.
And he was in Star Wars, the dad. That's cool.
Man, I should have just copy-pasted this. There's a quote in one of these articles I have open that's like, well, gosh, I mean, I think there's plenty to defend The Lion King with, but I just don't know what they're doing. Are they just out of ideas now? It's like, what do you think they were doing then? Why is this any different? I think it's just like people are starting to break out of that delirium of this feeling that the American film industry can just like never ever fail, and we're just going to be the global hegemony forever, that now it's like the uncanniness is sort of starting to settle in, and people are starting to realize that it's been 10 plus years of this bullshit. And when is it going to end? And why are they continuing to do this? It's becoming spooky.
It's bad.
It's awful. The chicken.
Yeah, Hey was the scariest part of this movie by far.
So gross. The chicken is just completely lifted. The animation style is the same as the original. All of the shots they use of Hey are the same. We've talked in many of these episodes about animal animation and what an opportunity that is for creativity. As I've said before, I think it takes a lot of respect for the animal to animate it properly. And I think that their decision to just not use a real chicken and just completely to the frame replicate the animation in the original is just gross. It just repulses me. Chickens are hilarious animals, just come
They're
up
very
with
funny. You have several of your own.
So let me tell you a chicken story, Gus. I've got too many.
Gus and all the listeners. I've
got too many tomatoes right now that I can comfortably eat, so I've been feeding a lot of tomatoes to the chickens, and one chicken loves tomatoes. It's her favorite thing in the world. I tossed a tomato to the chickens the other day, and this chicken, whose name is Margaret, picked up the whole tomato and tried to run away with it, but because the circumference of the tomato was bigger than her head, she kind of stumbled around, trying to look around the tomato she was holding in her beak, and ran into the side of the shed. And it was hilarious. Chickens are so funny. The real animal chickens are so funny. You can make chickens funny in live action. It's not hard. Have some imagination. Go watch some chickens. Why do this? It offends me. What else?
It's stupid.
It's so
I will say, I thought that, to use the example of Where We Are, is that the song?
Yes.
I feel like it worked better in the live action version.
I was going to say the same thing. I agree. Version. I think it's cool to see all the people.
Yeah, and I think that demonstrates what I meant with the whole thing about that. I didn't like it as much as the animated version, but I thought that You're Welcome, that was cool, I guess, what they did. Almost. They did a whole animated thing.
Yeah.
It opened very boring. The movie opened much worse. The original is really fun because it's this cool tapestry, and then the tapestry is that's what the grandma's holding up, and she scares the kids. And then in this one, it was just a fucking CGI flyover of the ocean, and the scary monsters. Terrible.
It's
boring.
Just awful.
Boring. We've moved past that as filmmakers. Come on, guys.
Here's a quote from Polygon. Tasha Robinson ends her review of this. The tone of the review is pretty is the same kind of bafflement we're experiencing. Why do this? And she says, for those familiar with the animated version, this is yet another case of a Disney live-action remake that feels entirely superfluous and reductive. It isn't grossly offensive and misguided like some of these remakes, or ambitiously weird like others. It's just, ellipses, the same thing we already got, repeated and repackaged in a pricey, glossy form. There's an argument to be made for reimagining Disney classics for a whole new generation. I disagree. I don't think there is. Like, not in this way. But the original version of Moana only came out 10 years ago. Nothing about this version asserts itself as unique, necessary, or even particularly interesting. It's just an ironic artifact of the modern Disney process, a story about claiming a unique identity that flouts that idea just by existing. But I think that's a pretty rich thing to say, given the rest of the Disney remakes. You know, none of those are unique or necessary or even particularly interesting either. The only thing that was, an argument at all for any of it was CG progress. And like, that was a bad reason. That was as bad a reason to make movies then as it is now. And I think a lot of critics aren't willing to admit that yet. And that's where this confusion in some of these critics is coming from. I think none of these remakes are better. It's just that we're finally recognizing that that's the case. And I think that's, because of other sort of cultural forces that are in swing right now about what art is for, and this whole AI thing. Oh, that's a thing about this movie. Kind of an interesting little production note that they were considering using AI to like digitally clone The Rock and put his face on a body double and whatever, and they decided not to because they didn't want to risk the PR, which is interesting considering how friendly Disney has been with Anthropic and OpenAI, and selling all their IP to what was it? Sora before that went under. Rough. Yep. I don't think anybody at Disney knows what they're doing. Like, there's no creative direction there. Nobody, I think we have actually run out of, any kind of juice at all. Like, all the fumes that companies like Disney have been running on have just been from repackaging all this IP, and now we're getting to the end of that, and now there's we don't have any idea what the next direction is, and nobody is making a choice.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the corporate culture in entertainment has become so ossified. You're welcome for that word. That you still have Neon. You sort of have A24, but I'm worried about them. You have Mubi, who are doing good stuff. But Disney, in the 2010s, Disney stopped doing mid and low budget movies, just period. Because Disney's such a giant company that a $10-20 million profit is kind of meaningless to them. So they're like, well, why would we go through all that effort and hire these teams and have these teams and put more work in our executives' desks to only make $5 or $10 million bucks? And so they only go for these giant movies now, which means they're so limited in what they can do. And because they only go for those big movies, they're not going to take risks the way that you can. If you're like, hey, this is only going to cost $1 million, let's make a weird horror, super small horror movie with a bunch of unknowns and see what happens. And sometimes that makes $400 million, and sometimes it makes $0. But Disney isn't going to make those kinds of movies. There was a boom of indie movies in the 90s when money first got super cheap to borrow. And you had things like Miramax, and you had all the other production companies. Village Roadshow, I think, started then. And
a lot of TriStar movies.
And then TriStar, all these ones, and they were doing well. And they would release a movie and they'd make a modest and they'd make a modest profit. And then the studios bought, and they had a thing. They'd make a movie for $1 to $5 to $10 million, and they'd get good actors, and they'd have an interesting script and tell an interesting story, and there weren't a lot of effects, and there weren't a lot of locations, and what locations there were weren't super expensive, but it was fun. It was cool. And the movies are good and heartfelt and interesting to watch. or at least the ones that are still worth watching.
And some would fail, and some would have be, you know, see modest success, and some would just like be absolute unexpected blockbusters.
Yeah, like Juno.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, which made what, like $300 million. Anyway, and then what happened is like the big studios like Disney would like bought Miramax. And Miramax they would make like a $10 million movie. They'd spend $5 million on marketing. They'd expect to make $20 million back. So they would make a profit of $5 million. Sometimes it was more, sometimes it was less, but generally they did well, right? And then Disney bought them, and they're like, hey, that $5 million is too small. We need a $10 million return because we have to show to you're privately owned, but we're publicly owned. So we have to show to our stockholders that we're growing, and we're constantly growing, and we're constantly making more profit. So now Miramax has to make a $20 million movie, spend $10 million on advertising, and they have to make $50 million back. So they need a $10 million budget. And as the budgets grow, and as the budgets grow, that's more money to lose, which means the risk tolerance goes down, which means they're making less interesting movies, and they're making less interesting choices, until eventually you're making, you know, you're like, we need $1 billion budget. We're going to spend $250 million
remaking a movie that came out 10 years ago
on a property that we know was successful, a property that we know made $500 million. We're going to make a live action movie, which has been doing okay historically. And we're going to do a star whose like net gross of movies is like $3 billion. And we're going to spend $100 million on advertising and blah, 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 blah. And it's bad. I think like, and you're seeing a very similar thing in games too, and a lot of bigger media where it's like the sort of structured media companies have left the low budget area to just fucking random people. But there's a lot of like potential value there. And if Disney was smart, or if Disney, now I don't want to say is smart, because Disney's really good at making money, but they're really bad at making good movies now. But if Disney if any of these production companies wanted a healthier environment and were not like slaves to their shareholders and their investors, which they are, they would do more smaller things. They would put aside like $50 million and they would just make $10 million weird movies and see what happens. You know, and they don't, and that's bad.
I'm interested to see what Hexed is like, because what was the last mid-budget thing Disney made? Turning Red, maybe?
Maybe, but that's Pixar.
Doesn't Disney own Pixar?
Yeah, but it's still Pixar.
I mean, this is part of the problem, is that Disney is functionally...
No, Turning Red was $175 million, according to Wikipedia.
Never mind then.
The reality is, like, and the other thing too is that I wanted to bring up, just to go back, is, do you know the Duplass brothers? So they're the Duplass brothers. One of them's an actor. You've seen him and stuff. Mark Duplass.
He was just in Backrooms.
They make a lot of films. They make a lot of super low budget films. They're very active in the mumblecore era. And some of their stuff is really interesting, and some of their stuff is terrible. And like that's what happens. But they are like, we can very confidently make a 90 to 120 minute movie for under $1.5 million. It's not hard. It's very easy. It's quite easy, and we have experience doing that, and we know how to do that. He said in an interview, I don't remember where it was, but it was very interesting. He was like, the big studios have literally forgotten how to make movies for cheap. Like Disney as an institution, because they bought and then dismantled or absorbed all these like lower budget indie production companies, have institutionally forgotten how to make movies in an inexpensive way.
That I think says something interesting about what happens with enough, for lack of a better word, technological progress, you know, with big air quotes. That like if you, I think we're about to discover that if you diffuse knowledge enough, eventually shit stops working, because nobody remembers how to do it. You know, nobody remembers the sort of like basic technologies that prop up everything else. I think this is one thing that we're learning with coding, and AI, that you can't offload everything onto AI. You have to have somebody who knows what they're doing, because otherwise nobody will be able to catch the mistakes, and the mistakes sometimes matter a lot. Somebody, I think, rest in peace, one of the last people in an iron lung just died, who had polio. And the reason she died, at least a contributing factor to why she died, is because there are no more iron lung mechanics. Nobody knows how to fix those anymore. And the parts don't exist. So when it started to break down, there was nothing they could do. I think that the sort of fantasies, all these sci-fi fantasies of the tech oligarchs, there are many reasons that's not going to work out for them. But one of them is that half the shit that they think they're going to make happen, uploading their mind to the fucking cloud or whatever, you just turn it off. All that shit, you just unplug it, and then it's done. It's over.
if there's a button, like, this is my, if there's a button that you can hit and something stops functioning, and there's not like a disaster that occurs afterwards, it's not alive.
Yeah.
And I know there are hypothetically like buttons you can press that kill people, but like then their body smells bad, and then they explode from rot, and like that's why they're
there's
alive.
still a material reality there to contend with.
If I turn off a computer, it's just there. It doesn't rot, like or sentient, not alive, whatever.
No, I know what you mean. I think there's a kind of technological delirium that it's just being dismantled all at once, or at least in a way that in retrospect, like 50 years from now, will seem like it happened all at once, because I think it's happening in the tech sector more broadly, but also in mass media, because these two things have become so intertwined in the past 20, 30 years, because so many tech companies are just like either, buying studios outright, or buying a lot of stake in studios, or just like somehow positioning themselves to be very, very important to mass media. I think there's a limit to that, that they're not acknowledging for many reasons, some of them cynical, but some of them very sincere, that like there are some true believers, and there are many true believers in the tech sector who think that we are all on the way to a sci-fi future, a literal sci-fi, like a fictionalized sci-fi future, without understanding why we tell those stories to begin with, and that they are not actually blueprints for the future. They're supposed to be commentaries on the human condition, just like everything else. On the current situation of the people who wrote them. I think we're rediscovering that. Can't happen soon enough, as far as I'm concerned. How many billions of dollars have been wasted on these fucking remakes? How many, how much resource waste?
A lot. How many dog shit movies?
God. The Rock's wig looks terrible. Speaking of hair, Moana's actress, this like really irritates me for reasons I can't really articulate again, but her hair is very, very curly, and so is Moana's in the original movie, and they like it's so blown out. She's like fresh from the salon in every single scene, and that makes me so mad. There
was definitely too much. I thought we had moved past this as a movie making culture. The makeup was too fresh.
Way too fresh.
So much of the scenes, and I think part of that is that they shot so much on soundstage.
And it's like, if that's the case, if everything's gonna look so shiny and perfect, and you're not actually gonna lean into the implications of this being a real world, then why make this at all? You already have an animated version, Man, I'm tired, boss.
Is that from Avengers?
No, I think it's from The Green Mile.
Oh. Thanks for listening to Once More with Feeling. Dan, keep that silence in. or at least half of it. Thanks for listening to Once More with Feeling, podcast about fine original movies and like pretty soulless remakes.
I'm so glad our Disney season is over. I don't think I can handle a whole lot
until
more.
Tangled. Until Tangled comes out.
Until Tangled, I guess, yeah.
Until Frozen comes
until
out.
we figure out how we're gonna like what season How to Train Your Dragon fits in. So I think it's gonna feel very similar.
We should probably just do that in the middle of horror. But like maybe as a Patreon one. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks so much for listening to Once More with Season. Our little bonus episode of Once More with Feeling Season 1. If you want to support us, we got Patreon. We got social media.
It's like these movies are designed to have nothing to say about. You know?
I think they are. That's actually something I wanted to bring up. Like, Moana feels disconnected from the reality of 2016 a lot more than like a lot of the other movies that we've looked at, and even of like the optimism of the 90s with like the Disney Renaissance films. It's like Moana's just kind of there, and I think that's what's happened. It's a very interesting indicator of like what has happened to Disney. They've become just like so corporate. Like the magic has been harvested. Yeah. It's not there anymore. And it's I don't know about sad, but I wish it would die so that something more interesting could take its place. I think
it's depressing, which is different from sad. Yeah. You know, it's just like it just kind of brings the tone of of everything in your vicinity when you're in the presence of these movies down like 5 notes.
Yeah. I became a worse boyfriend after I watched this movie. Just for a day. Now I'm good again. Thanks so much for watching. We're on social media, most of the social media, not Twitter, because that one's rough, but the other ones. Our social media editor has been leveling up quite significantly. We're very proud of her. She's so good. Watch that stuff. We'll be back with horror next week. Pretty cool guest. Very excited for that one. We're both going to be a little starstruck. Fun stuff coming up. Stick around every other Wednesday, sometimes 2 Wednesdays in a row. I don't know. It's just, it's a side project. Whenever we want, really.
No, it's not whenever we want at all.
Most Wednesdays. Most Wednesdays.
We've done actually been pretty good for almost a year.
Yeah.
Of keeping up our every other week upload schedule.
I know, I'm proud of us.
Proud of us too.
Looks good on my resume to be like, I
committed to a project.
Yeah. Look at me.
Gus, speak into the mic.
What? What's up? Thanks for listening. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Outro music.
It sucks. Outro music. Goodbye.
Too often stripped of love, just stare like the